Hi, my name is Dorina and I welcome you on my channel. And today I'd like to talk about the first sign that your life is changing, that you are changing. And this sign is that you are starting to lose people. And you have to let go of people. And your circle is changing. And yes, it's a very sensitive subject for me right now because I'm in the process of letting go of two people, two dearest people in my life. And it hurts. It's very painful, but it's inevitable and it has to be done. And let's talk about that. I'm recording this video for those people who might be going through the same thing and they might feel themselves confused and lost and lonely. When you're on this self-discovery, self-growth, self-transformational journey, unfortunately, not everybody in your life can come with you on this journey. And at some point, you might have to start letting people go. And at some point, you might realize that you're all alone. You might feel like you're all alone. You are not. And this is why I'm making this video, to let you know that you are not. And you don't have to be alone. And if you look around, you have people in your life who are there to support you. And if not, there will be people who will be there very soon and who will be aligned with you and who will be on the same page with you, on the same level, on the same emotional level. You are just creating space for them right now. And there is a quote by Paulo Coelho is, if you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. And I know, and I want you to know, that this pain is temporary. What's happening right now is temporary. You might feel pain, you have to go through this, but it's not going to last forever. And life doesn't like empty spaces. So you close the doors on some relationships, but there's going to be the new ones. The new doors will open. And I don't want to sound like I don't care about people in my life. I do care. And I did my best to keep those relationships afloat. But let's talk about how it actually happens that you come to a point in your life when you are obligated, you feel obligated to say goodbye to certain people. Well, when you start this self-growth journey, when you start changing your mindset, changing your life, changing yourself, first, there is an internal change, right? So you review all your values, you evaluate your life, you review all the patterns, all the blueprints, and you eliminate everything that's no longer serves you, everything that's not aligned with you anymore, all the limiting beliefs, all the destructive patterns. First, you have to realize, okay, and like evaluate your life and be like, okay, this is the list of things that should not be there anymore. Then you start a process of elimination and you letting go and you unlearning. You unlearning a certain behavior. You unlearning to make certain choices. And then you start learning to make new choices, to think in a different way, to adopt a new mindset. And first, it's an internal change. And then you start seeing the change in the outside world. And the first thing you start seeing is in the relationships. So at the beginning, this change might feel very subtle. And it's just, after some conversations or interactions, you might feel uncomfortable and you start questioning yourself, like, what's going on? Why do I feel this way? And at the beginning, you don't even believe that this is happening. You start rationalizing and explain what happened, explain another person's actions, for example, towards you, and be like, no, it can't be. It can't be. This person can't mean or wish me bad, it can't be happening. But then these uncomfortable situations, they might happen again and again and again. And it comes to the point when you're like, okay, something has to be done. And you start vocalizing it. You start building, setting boundaries. You might be actually the one who didn't have any boundaries. You didn't have any self-love, or you were struggling with self-love, or you were struggling with feeling your value. And I was guilty of that. I was a people pleaser, and I probably am still at some point, because it doesn't happen overnight. But I used to be a people pleaser big time. And I guess I used to find and see my value through other people's eyes, and I was looking for validation. I was looking for approval for a long time. And so my love, my self-love, my self-worth were based on how other people would treat me or what other people would tell me. But when you start working on yourself, you build a new foundation. You start building this foundation of self-love and self-worth inside. And you don't have to rely on the opinion of others anymore. You don't have to rely on their approval or on their validation, because you already have it. You're not looking for it. And so it's as if you take those glasses off and you start seeing some actions, some words. You start seeing them for what they truly are. Sometimes it's manipulation. Sometimes it's gaslighting. Sometimes it's simple dismissal of you, your values, your worth. And you might find yourself being used. Sometimes it's simply you start living a completely different lifestyle. You might have completely different values, and interests in life. It could simply be that you just have different interests and there's nothing that connects you anymore. But sometimes it can be something very much deeper, which I talked about before, when you feel like your boundaries are not being respected. And so what are the red flags? What are the signs that it's time to let go? Well, first of all is when, let's say, you vocalize, right, your concerns, and you say, okay, look, in this situation, in this conversation, I feel myself disrespected. I feel like you're putting me down, and if the person is not open for a conversation and your feelings are being dismissed, and for example, you've been told, you're too sensitive, you're misunderstood, I don't feel this way, no, it's not the way it is. And when you constantly start questioning your feelings, you constantly start having to explain why you feel hurt, why you feel this way, why you feel disrespected, and the other person is just not open for a conversation and is just not ready to take responsibility for anything that's happening in the relationship, well, that's a red flag. And you're not crazy. Because I know that when you're on the path of self-growth, one of the first things that we learn is that people are our mirrors, right? And we tend to, once you start working on yourself, it feels like it's never going to end. There is always something to learn, and everything is a lesson. And so every situation like that, The first question you ask yourself is, okay, what is my lesson here? Maybe this person is trying to mirror something to me. And this is what happened to me in the last situation, which occurred yesterday with my best, unfortunately not anymore, but with my best friend. And my first thought was like, okay, maybe this is just, she's being my mirror right now. So I had to reach out to another friend of mine and ask her, like, look, in our conversations, in our interactions, do I ever come across as da da da? Or do I ever treat you like da da da? Do you ever feel like da da da? And she said, no, not at all. And then I realized that the lesson here might not be to learn to look in the mirror, but to learn to let go. And finally to see the things for what they are. And to make a decision to finally let go. Because this is also a lesson, to learn to let go. It's painful, it's scary, it's devastating to lose a person. You have been together through so much. It's hard. All these questions are going through your head. Am I being too harsh? Am I overreacting? Maybe there is something else that can be done. Maybe there's another lesson to learn. Like all these doubts. But there is a danger of losing yourself in that. And it's very important to stay true to yourself and stay true to your values and know your worth. And yeah, sometimes you have to come to a very hard decision and put your feelings above somebody else's and not be scared to hurt somebody and be a bitch to somebody. Another red flag is when you start feeling that you are the only one who is constantly putting effort in the relationship. You're constantly putting your time. You're constantly the one who is trying to like work on things and fix things and like interact and do something together, you know? And it just feels like it's a one-way street, but the relationship is not like that. The relationship should be a two-way street and two people are supposed to put effort. Not necessarily equal, but both should put effort. The relationship is an energy exchange, and there has to be an exchange. Another red flag is when you start trying to justify their actions. When you start telling yourself, maybe I did overreact, maybe it's just the way this person is. But respect isn't about intentions, it's about impact. And another red flag is that you start feeling drained, uncomfortable, not energized after the interaction with certain people. And do you feel inspired, you know, in this relationship? Or do you feel smaller? Do you feel dismissed? Do you feel heavier? Do you need like you have to recover after the exchange? So that's another sign that it's time to let go. The truth is, people show us who they are. The problem is, we don't always want to see it. So as painful as it can be, as hurtful as it can be, as difficult as it can be, as scary as it can be to go through this, at the same time, it's a very freeing feeling when you actually realize that you don't have to put up with any of this anymore. It feels amazing when you actually learn to stand your ground and to stand up for yourself and to protect yourself and to vocalize your feelings and to vocalize how you want to be treated. And when you don't depend on the other person anymore, your value, your worth, your self-love, they don't depend on that anymore. And you are totally fine alone. You feel absolutely comfortable alone. You'd rather be alone than spend time with people who do not see your worth, who do not treat you the way you deserve to be treated. To help you go through this, I'm gonna make a list of movies that might help you to go through this journey. I'm also creating an online community, my inner circle, for those who are looking to change their life, to find support, to change something in their life, to actually start living, to find who they are, to find their path, to find their passion, to feel fulfilled and happy. And no matter what happens in life, just to be able to look at life with passion, with love, with excitement. For those who want to savor this life and they just need a community, they just need a little push, they just need a little help to do so. They just need a guidance. And I want to create that transformational, that loving, that supportive space for you guys. I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for sharing this space. And I hope to see you in the next videos. And please share your thoughts and share your experience in the comments if you can relate and if you find this helpful.